Hello, my dear English learners. Welcome back to the Native Flow English. I'm Sarah, your teacher and friend. If you're new here, don't worry. This is a safe and friendly space where we learn English together every single day. Have you ever entertained the profound wish, a truly revolutionary thought, that you could significantly accelerate your mastery of the English language simply by drifting off to sleep? Imagine the exhilaration of waking up each morning feeling linguistically refreshed, possessing a sharper comprehension of native conversational flow, a naturally richer lexical bank, and an almost intuitive ability to structure complex sentences. Today, we delve into the core of this possibility, exploring a scientifically validated methodology that transforms your downtime into active learning. The concept of leveraging nocturnal hours for educational gain is far from mere wishful thinking. It is deeply rooted in neurological science. Extensive research has confirmed that the human brain does not simply shut down when we sleep. Rather, it enters a highly active state of processing and maintenance. Specifically, during the critical phases of slow-wave sleep and rapid eye movement sleep, a biological phenomenon known as memory consolidation occurs. This process is the brain's built-in mechanism for organizing, strengthening, and permanently filing information absorbed during the previous day into long-term memory structures. This neurobiological reinforcement, the silent, unseen strengthening of neural pathways, is the absolute key to understanding why strategic passive listening to English audio during sleep can be profoundly effective. To grasp this power, consider a pressing professional scenario. Perhaps you have an international client meeting tomorrow and desperately need to decode sophisticated English presentations without delay or mental friction. You spent the entire day practicing vocabulary and idioms, but those newly acquired knowledge fragments remain fragile, absorbed, but not yet cemented. This is precisely where sleep-based reinforcement intervenes. By strategically utilizing your sleep cycle, you grant your brain the passive environment necessary to consolidate that fragmented knowledge. While the idea of absorbing language subconsciously might initially sound bizarre or ineffective, its function mirrors that of natural background exposure. The auditory cortex remains semi-active, registering steady, non-disruptive sound patterns even when deep consciousness is suspended. The central tenet of this method lies in providing a consistently gentle, calm, and structured stream of language that the subconscious mind can process. This is emphatically not about blasting rapid, complex conversations, or overwhelming, academic podcasts. Instead, the focus must be on content that is intrinsically clear, highly repetitive, and fundamentally structured for ease of pattern recognition. Optimal content includes recordings of common conversational phrases, categorized vocabulary lists presented contextually, or short, narrated stories delivered at a natural, unhurried pace. These recordings serve to introduce and reinforce the authentic flow of the language, its rhythmic cadence, and foundational sentence architecture. Envision yourself settling into bed. The room is quiet, save for the muted, soft voice of a narrator describing a typical day, perhaps a stroll through a bustling marketplace, a relaxed dialogue between two close friends, or common travel interactions. Your brain, while resting, begins to unconsciously detect and internalize these patterns, the subtle nuances of intonation, and the natural syntactic flow of English sentences. Over consecutive nights, this repeated, low-pressure auditory exposure strengthens the relevant neural connections. The result? A noticeable improvement in the speed and ease with which you can recall words and phrases upon waking. Consistency, perhaps more than any other factor, dictates success. A single night of listening yields negligible benefit. This must become a foundational element of your nightly ritual. Crucially, this passive exposure is not a substitute for active, conscious daytime study. Active hours must be dedicated to vocabulary, memorization, grammar exercises, and overt pronunciation practice. Sleep, conversely, serves as the passive, powerful engine that reinforces and stabilizes those skills, securing them against forgetting. Let's return to a real-world application. You are now attempting to follow a rapid-fire conversation between two native speakers in a busy cafe. They are employing standard contractions, reductions, and common idioms. Initially, the speed might feel overwhelming, but because your subconscious has been repeatedly exposed to similar patterns during sleep, certain phrases or word linkings suddenly click into place. Your brain instantly recognizes the rhythm and the clipped forms. You realize that gonna, effortlessly, represents going to, and wanna is simply want to. The linguistic gaps disappear, and while the speakers might be fast, you catch the crucial keywords and grasp the contextual meaning. This happens because your subconscious has already completed the heavy lifting of processing these fluid, compressed forms. You are no longer performing a difficult word-by-word translation. Instead, your mind processes English as a smooth, connected stream of cohesive ideas. To maximize the efficacy of this method, content selection must align perfectly with your current proficiency level. Absolute beginners should exclusively use extremely simple vocabulary, common phrases, and exceptionally clear, slow sentences. Intermediate learners can graduate to slightly faster speech, incorporating short narratives or realistic dialogues. Advanced learners might challenge their comprehension with complex, authentic conversations, detailed news clips, or sophisticated podcasts. Volume control is also essential. The audio must be clearly audible to the sleeping brain, but never so loud as to disrupt the crucial architecture of your sleep cycle. The brain processes information most efficiently when it is in a state of profound relaxation. Furthermore, integrating visual reinforcement accelerates retention. During your active study hours, review the exact transcripts or written narratives of the audio you intend to play overnight. This duality, combining visual recognition with auditory exposure, dramatically strengthens memory imprinting. Another highly effective priming strategy is to engage in a few minutes of conscious, active listening right before you intend to sleep. Focus deliberately on the pronunciation, the intonation, and the key vocabulary. Then, allow that same audio to continue playing as you fall asleep. Your mind is already primed for the specific input, making the subsequent subconscious absorption exponentially more efficient. It must be emphasized. This process is an accelerator, not a magic spell. Fluency will not materialize overnight. However, with unwavering consistency, you will begin to observe small, yet cumulatively significant, improvements. Over weeks and months, you may find that familiar phrases appear more readily in your waking thoughts, or that understanding native speakers requires substantially less mental exertion. These incremental gains accumulate into noticeable, tangible progress across both listening comprehension and spontaneous speaking ability. For instance, when traveling abroad, you might find airport or train station announcements instantly intelligible, or effortlessly follow complex directions given by a local. You may even begin to replicate natural pronunciation patterns without conscious imitation. The scientific foundation underpinning this method is the deliberate memory consolidation that occurs as the brain actively replays daytime experiences. When you couple active, focused daytime English study with structured nighttime reinforcement, your brain automatically prioritizes the rehearsal of this linguistic data, solidifying the necessary neural connections. This process concurrently improves both recognition, listening, and recall speaking, foundation. Researchers widely agree that this technique is most potent for passive learning requirements, vocabulary acquisition, accurate pronunciation, and listening comprehension. While active speaking production still demands conscious effort, the robust foundation built during nocturnal sessions makes spontaneous conversation far more accessible and less anxiety-inducing. A practical starting point is to curate a dedicated English audio playlist perfectly tailored to your language goals. This playlist should incorporate a blend of structured vocabulary drills, high-frequency phrases, and simple narratives. The overall acoustic texture must be calming and soothing. Rigorously avoid any stimulating material that could interrupt the quality of your sleep. The inclusion of audio that utilizes targeted repetition of key phrases is particularly valuable, as repetition is the brain's primary mechanism for pattern strength and long-term memory formation. Another powerful, yet often overlooked, advantage of sleep-based learning is its potent anxiety reduction effect. Many learners experience significant nervousness when attempting to engage with or understand native speakers. By exposing the brain to natural English speech patterns in the supremely relaxed environment of sleep, familiarity is built without performance pressure. Over time, this builds quiet confidence, allowing listening comprehension to improve organically. Let us revisit the busy cafe setting one final time. You overhear a group ordering their beverages. One patron requests, "Could I get a large cappuccino and a croissant, please?" The server replies, "Certainly. Would you like any sugar with that?" Because your resting brain has consistently processed similar transactional and polite phrases, the sequence of words is processed without noticeable cognitive effort. You instantaneously recognize the structure, the polite interrogative forms, and the correct pronunciation of the foreign menu item. This internal preparedness translates directly into real-life composure, making the interaction feel less like a test and more like a fluid exchange. To ensure maximal results, sleep reinforcement must be intentionally paired with other evidence-based language acquisition methods. Continue active speaking practice, engage in short writing exercises, and conduct vocabulary reviews. Sleep exposure acts as a powerful complement to these efforts, accelerating progress and injecting much-needed effortlessness into the typically stressful process of language learning. In conclusion, leveraging your sleep time for English enhancement is a validated, powerful method that dramatically improves your listening comprehension, cements vocabulary retention, and boosts real-world confidence. By meticulously selecting audio content, adhering to a consistent nightly routine, and integrating this passive exposure with diligent active study during the day, you guarantee measurable and sustainable progress. Your brain is a continuous learning engine, even while at rest. Strategically harnessing this natural process allows you to experience continuous language refinement without incurring feelings of being overwhelmed or exhausted. Over time, native speech becomes transparent, your vocabulary integrates organically, and your confidence in using English in daily scenarios solidifies. This approach demands patience, consistency, and careful curation of audio materials, but the resulting gains are transformative. Sleep is thus redefined. It is not merely a period for physical rest, but a rich opportunity for cognitive growth and skill development. By utilizing the power of your subconscious mind, Every night becomes a valuable study session, reinforcing daytime lessons and preparing you for complex real-life communication challenges. This synergy active daytime practice combined with deep nighttime reinforcement establishes a virtuous cycle that consistently strengthens your English abilities. Whether preparing for academic exams, international travel, or professional advancement, this method offers a simple, practical pathway to accelerated progress without increased stress. Waking up with phrases and words instantly accessible is a powerful motivator. This is not a substitute for conscious effort, but a sophisticated supplement that brilliantly capitalizes on the brain's innate memory processing capabilities. In our time-constrained modern world, maximizing learning opportunities during sleep provides a significant and sustainable competitive advantage. By carefully integrating these sleep learning sessions with active daytime study, you cultivate a holistic, effective, and surprisingly enjoyable approach to language acquisition. Ultimately, the science-backed technique of learning English while you sleep offers a unique, practical, and potent mechanism to substantially boost listening comprehension, refine pronunciation, expand vocabulary, and gain profound confidence in real-life English usage. Now that we have established the underlying science of sleep-based language acquisition, the next step is to formalize the practical elements required to seamlessly weave this methodology into your daily life. First and foremost, we must meticulously consider the characteristics of the content that performs best during sleep learning. Not all audio is created equal for the resting brain. The fundamental requirement is audio that is inherently calm, exceptionally clear, and tightly structured. Short, realistic dialogues, contextualized vocabulary lists, and simple narratives prove vastly more effective than fast-paced news reports or high-density podcasts dealing with complex subjects. For example, selecting a recording that vividly narrates a traveler's typical day in a new urban environment, explaining the steps for ordering street food, purchasing transit tickets, and politely asking for directions provides maximum utility. These practical, applicable scenarios teach language that the brain knows can be immediately utilized, allowing your mind to passively absorb sentence structures, practical vocabulary, and pronunciation patterns without any conscious effort. The critical technique that drives memory strength is repetition. The sleeping brain fortifies memory traces through repeated exposure. Consequently, playing the exact same audio sequence for multiple consecutive nights is exponentially more effective than introducing novel material nightly. This strategic repetition permits the subconscious mind to deeply recognize patterns, solidify key phrases, and fully internalize the subtleties of native pronunciation. Consider another high-stakes scenario. You are traveling abroad and urgently need to solicit directions to a prominent local landmark. A local might respond with the common phrase, "Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the museum?" Initially, the speed may cause momentary confusion. However, if your brain has already processed similar interrogative structures hundreds of times while you slept, you instantly recognize the structural pattern and grasp the meaning with zero hesitation. Your brain has been systematically trained to process these high-frequency social exchanges. Another powerful cognitive tool is coupling sleep listening with pre-bed visualization. Spend a few mindful minutes imagining specific, high-resolution real-life situations where you would actively employ English. Picture the sensory details: walking into a warm, inviting cafe, exchanging greetings with the barista, and confidently placing your coffee order. Envision yourself asking a new acquaintance about their weekend plans or offering a precise response to a directional query. This focused mental rehearsal, combined with the subsequent nighttime auditory input, significantly strengthens memory retrieval, and makes spontaneous language recall far more fluid upon waking. Timing, while flexible, warrants consideration. Studies suggest that auditory input may be most efficiently processed during light sleep phases or the early stages of slow-wave sleep. However, there is no need for hyper-precision. Simply initiating the audio as you comfortably drift off, or maintaining a continuous, soft playback throughout the night, will still yield substantial cognitive benefits. When selecting audio, the importance of level matching cannot be overstated. Beginners require slow, deliberate recordings featuring maximally simple sentences and fundamental vocabulary. Intermediate learners should advance to slightly accelerated speech, complex short stories, and nuanced practical dialogues. Advanced learners should seek content that challenges them with sophisticated sentence construction, colloquial idioms, and highly authentic conversational material. The objective is to perfectly match the content difficulty to your current comprehension ceiling, thereby preventing frustration and guaranteeing sustained, measurable progress. It remains vital to couple passive listening with active daytime engagement. For example, if your nighttime audio focuses on ordering food, your daytime activities should involve role-playing those phrases aloud, transcribing short dialogues, or writing out brief scenarios, using the newly absorbed vocabulary. This harmonious combination of passive nocturnal learning and active diurnal practice creates a maximally powerful learning cycle that accelerates linguistic mastery. Consistency is the bedrock of successful sleep learning. It must be formalized as a non-negotiable part of your regular nightly routine. The brain thrives on routine and predictability. A fixed schedule greatly enhances the memory consolidation process. Furthermore, cultivate a tranquil sleep environment. Minimize ambient noise, dim lights, and eliminate electronic distractions. This optimal setting allows the brain to relax fully and dedicate processing power to the audio input. Over time, your brain will neurologically associate these calming conditions with language uptake, dramatically boosting efficacy. Consider a social application. You are attending a gathering where native speakers are discussing weekend activities. You overhear someone ask, "Do you want to go hiking this Saturday?" This phrase, spoken quickly, might initially be confusing. Yet, if similar conversational rhythms have been playing softly while you slept, your brain has already processed the structure and flow of the question. You understand the compressed, "Do you wanna?" without needing to translate individual words, allowing you to recognize the meaning instantly and formulate a natural, real-time response. Sleep learning also offers an inherent advantage in pronunciation refinement. The subconscious brain naturally attempts to imitate the precise sounds it registers. By listening consistently to clear, articulate, native speech at night, you subtly begin to absorb accurate vowel formation, stress patterns, and rhythmic intonation. This effect often leads to improvement in your own speech production without requiring explicit, conscious effort. To enhance this, focus on a small, manageable set of target sentences, perhaps 10 common phrases for greetings or directions. Play these repeatedly each night and actively review them during the day. You will soon observe that your brain anticipates the sounds, making both accurate pronunciation and retention significantly easier. Vocabulary acquisition benefits greatly from this methodology because words are heard in natural context rather than in sterile isolation. For instance, hearing the word delicious embedded within a phrase like "the croissant was absolutely delicious" teaches not only the definition but also its natural usage and appropriate register, making both recall and application, much simpler. Some learners question whether sleep learning can replace active speaking practice. The unequivocal answer is no. Speaking necessitates active production and conscious effort. However, sleep learning dramatically simplifies the act of speaking because your brain has already internalized the foundational patterns, vocabulary, and correct pronunciation. When the moment comes to speak, you operate from a much stronger base, allowing you to communicate more fluently and with greater spontaneous confidence. Let's examine one final practical scenario. You are aboard a train, listening to a fast-paced announcement regarding upcoming stops and schedules. The rapid delivery initially feels overwhelming. However, if you have practiced similar public address phrases during sleep, your auditory system instantly filters out and isolates key functional words. Next stop, transfer point, platform number. Your brain automatically contextualizes the meaning, enabling immediate comprehension of the essential message. Technology serves as a powerful enhancer for this process. Many dedicated applications and audio programs are now specifically designed for sleep-based language instruction, often featuring built-in repetition loops, optimal slow-speed delivery, and clear, pedagogical pronunciation. These tools frequently allow customization, setting the order of content, selecting thematic clusters, or fine-tuning the volume for an optimal learning environment. While standard podcasts or existing recordings can be used, always ensure the chosen content is emotionally calm and non-stimulating. Listening to complex political news broadcasts or highly energized discussions risks severely disrupting your sleep architecture, a risk that negates any potential linguistic gain. Sleep and reduce the effectiveness of learning. A more nuanced approach involves systematically varying the topics gradually to build linguistic scaffolding. Start with low-stakes, high-frequency exchanges, the foundational elements of daily communication, such as standard greetings, basic transaction, phrases for shopping, or essential travel, vocabulary. Then, as your comfort level rises, smoothly progress to more sophisticated, social, conversations, industry-specific work-related phrases, and subtle cultural expressions. This measured, gradual exposure ensures steady, sustainable improvement and critically prevents cognitive overload, turning learning into a rewarding process rather than a mental struggle. Let us imagine a high-stakes, busy airport scenario. You need instantaneous comprehension of critical announcements regarding flights, gates, and boarding procedures amidst high noise and stress. If you have diligently practiced listening to similar, targeted phrases during sleep, your brain is pre-tuned for rapid recognition. You will instantly decode expressions like "final call for passengers on flight 245" or "Gate 12 is now boarding." Your brain processes these necessary instructions quickly, allowing you to follow them without confusion or panic. This subconscious preparedness becomes immensely valuable when traveling in a foreign country, where English is the primary language, transforming potential anxiety into assured competence. Confidence is another major, often overlooked, advantage of sleep-based learning. Many learners feel debilitating anxiety, a fear of failure, or judgment when interacting with native speakers. By bathing your brain in authentic English in a relaxed state during sleep, You systematically desensitize this anxiety and build profound familiarity with natural speech patterns. You no longer feel intimidated by fast or heavily accented speech because your subconscious mind has already processed thousands of similar linguistic examples, normalizing the input. To maximize the benefits of this internal shift, combine the passive sleep method with active techniques during the day. This includes practices like shadowing, where you repeat sentences aloud immediately after listening to the audio, or writing short summaries of the content to reinforce understanding and convert recognition into production. These active practices seamlessly complement passive sleep learning, creating a robust, holistic approach to language acquisition, repetition, consistency, and alignment with your level are the core, non-negotiable principles of success. The brain thrives on patterns, therefore, repeated exposure to the exact same phrases, vocabulary sets, and pronunciation models solidifies learning by forging robust neural connections. Consistency ensures that these neural pathways are continuously strengthened, while alignment with your current proficiency level prevents deep frustration and ensures steady, incremental improvement. Imagine preparing for a vacation and seeking fluid interactions with hotel staff, taxi drivers, and restaurant personnel. By listening to travel-related phrases during sleep, your brain becomes intimately familiar with common sentence structures and necessary terminology. You will rapidly catch functional words like reservation, check-in, menu, and bill, making your real-world interactions smoother and expeditious, vastly more confident. This methodology translates powerfully to professional environments as well. At work, you may need to follow complex meetings, presentations, or phone calls in English. Sleep learning improves deep listening comprehension and contextual vocabulary retention, making these situations dramatically easier to handle. Over time, you begin to effortlessly understand faster speech, idiomatic expressions, and informal language patterns without conscious effort or translation. It is also incredibly helpful to integrate cultural context into your audio content. Listening to dialogues that accurately reflect real social interactions, humor, and customs allows your brain to internalize not only the language but also the appropriate social response mechanisms. For example, hearing polite expressions like, "Would you mind if I joined you?" or casual greetings like, "Hey, how's it going?" prepares you instinctively for both formal and informal communication settings. Another critical factor is mindset. Approach sleep learning with genuine patience and openness. Improvement is incremental, not instantaneous. You will begin to notice gradual gains in comprehension, vocabulary recall, pronunciation accuracy, and, most importantly, confidence. The key is absolute trust in the process and unwavering consistency. To maintain motivation, track your progress. Keep a simple journal of new words, phrases, or sentence patterns that become noticeably easier to understand over time. Review them periodically to strengthen the memory trace which creates a powerful sense of achievement and fuels continued effort. By combining sleep learning with rigorous daily study, vivid visualization techniques, active speaking practice, and real-life application, you forge a complete, integrated learning system. Each component supports and amplifies the others, resulting in accelerated improvement and the confident, natural use of English. Sleep is no longer merely a time for physical rest. It becomes a sophisticated tool for continuous growth, a period where your brain actively consolidates memories and fortifies your emerging language skills. By using carefully selected, level-appropriate audio content, coupled with repetition, consistency, and mindful integration with active study, you can make measurable progress and feel completely comfortable in any English-speaking environment. Over the span of weeks and months, you will find that listening becomes easier, speaking feels more natural, and vocabulary is more readily accessible under pressure. Your subconscious mind will act as a silent support system for your conscious efforts, enabling you to understand native speakers, follow fast conversations, and respond quickly and confidently. Learning English while you sleep is a scientifically supported, simple yet powerful method that maximizes your brain's natural abilities, significantly reduces performance stress, and dramatically accelerates improvement. It allows you to combine deep relaxation, essential rest, and valuable skill development into one highly effective routine. With patience, persistence, and smart, focused planning, this method can transform the way you approach English learning, making it more enjoyable, efficient, and applicable for daily life, travel, work, and complex social interactions. Now that you understand the profound cognitive principles of learning English while sleeping, it is imperative to explore the practical, operational strategies that make this approach highly effective and enjoyable. First, consider setting a crystal clear, specific goal for your sleep learning sessions. Define exactly what you intend to achieve. Do you aim to understand native speakers with greater ease, expand specialized vocabulary, internalize common phrases for upcoming travel, or polish specific pronunciation features? Setting a precise goal helps your subconscious brain focus its processing power on the exact type of language needed, allowing you to accurately measure progress over time. For instance, if your goal is to dramatically improve listening comprehension for travel situations, select only audio content that features authentic dialogues at airports, train stations, hotels, and restaurants. Listening to these focused scenarios repeatedly during sleep primes your brain to recognize and understand similar conversations when you encounter them in the demanding environment of real life. A second critical strategy is to design a rigid, structured routine. Establish a consistent bedtime schedule that deliberately incorporates sleep learning. Your brain performs optimally when faced with repetition and predictability. Listening to English audio at the exact same time each night strengthens the necessary neural pathways and dramatically enhances memory consolidation. Crucially, you do not need to attempt to stay awake while listening. In fact, it is far more effective to allow the audio to play softly, almost like white noise, in the background as you drift off to sleep. Your subconscious mind will continue to process the sounds, grammatical sentences, and rhythmic patterns, even as your conscious mind enters deep rest. Another vital technique is careful content selection. Avoid complex news reports, fast-paced, dense podcasts, or content laden with academic or difficult vocabulary that may overwhelm the sleeping brain. Instead, select recordings characterized by clear pronunciation, a moderate, calming speed, and practical, everyday vocabulary. Short stories, simple interactive dialogues, daily life conversations, and vivid travel scenarios are ideal. For a perfect example, you could focus on a dialogue between two friends making specific plans for a weekend outing, perhaps going to a park, visiting a museum, or trying a new restaurant. The sentences in these recordings should be complete, fundamentally easy to grasp, and naturally structured. Repetition is absolutely essential. It is the engine of subconscious memory. Your brain strengthens long-term memory through repeated, consistent exposure to the same linguistic patterns, sentences, and vocabulary. Play the exact same audio for several consecutive nights. Hearing the same phrases multiple times allows your subconscious mind to fully internalize the sounds, the rhythm, and the grammatical architecture of English. For instance, listening to the sentence, "Could I have a cup of coffee, please?" repeatedly teaches not just the vocabulary, but also polite phrasing, sentence structure, and the correct rising intonation. Visualization is another powerful psychological tool. Before you fall asleep, dedicate a few deliberate minutes to imagine realistic, real-life situations where you would actively use English. Picture yourself vividly ordering food at a bustling restaurant, clearly asking for directions on a city street, or having a casual, relaxed conversation with a friend. This intense mental rehearsal, synergistically combined with the sleep-based audio exposure, dramatically strengthens memory encoding and improves conscious recall. It is especially helpful to focus on scenarios that are inherently meaningful and relevant to your immediate or future daily life. Timing is also an important, though nuanced, consideration. While precise sleep stages are difficult to measure without specialized equipment, playing audio as you fall asleep, the transition stage, or during light, non-REM sleep phases, is proven to be effective. Your brain remains active and processing information during these stages, reinforcing memory and consolidating language patterns. Volume settings should always be moderate loud enough for your subconscious to register the input, but not so loud that it disrupts the quality of your sleep. The content itself should maintain a calm, soothing, and rhythmic quality. It is also crucial to align the audio complexity with your current level of English mastery. Beginners must start with fundamental, simple sentences, basic core vocabulary, and slow, exceptionally clear speech. Intermediate learners can successfully progress to slightly faster dialogues and more practical, nuanced conversations. Advanced learners, conversely, can leverage authentic podcasts, complex short stories, and highly involved dialogues. Aligning content with your level ensures that you are consistently challenged, but never overwhelmingly frustrated, which maximizes the efficiency of nocturnal learning. Sleep learning fundamentally complements active study during the day. The two must work in tandem. Listening at night strengthens your brain's recognition of words, phrases, and sentence patterns, but conscious, active engagement is still absolutely necessary for fluency. Practice speaking, writing, and reading the same material during your waking hours. For example, repeat aloud the phrases you internalized at night. Write short sentences or dialogues based on the concepts, and read similar stories. This perfect combination of passive input and active output accelerates progress and establishes an exceptionally strong foundation for genuine fluency. Let us consider a real-life scenario. You are at a busy cafe, attempting to follow a rapid conversation between two native speakers. They are speaking quickly, using natural contractions, rapid reductions, and colloquial expressions. At first, it feels overwhelming, but because you have diligently listened to similar dialogues during sleep, certain phrases immediately register. You recognize gonna as going to and wanna as want to. You swiftly pick up the general meaning of the conversation without the need to translate word by word. Your subconscious brain has already processed these complex patterns, making comprehension faster, less tiring, and more natural. Pronunciation also dramatically improves through sleep-based learning. Your brain unconsciously mimics the sounds it hears. Listening to native speakers while sleeping trains your brain to recognize the correct pronunciation, intonation, and stress patterns inherent in the language. Over time, this reduces the conscious effort needed to speak naturally and makes your own speech sound noticeably more fluent. 2. Enhance pronunciation specifically. Focus on a small, core set of sentences each week. Play these repeatedly at night, and practice repeating them aloud with focus during the day. Your brain begins to anticipate the sounds and patterns, which significantly improves your spoken English without straining conscious effort. Vocabulary acquisition is another primary benefit. Listening to new words consistently presented in context teaches not only the meaning but, more importantly, the correct usage. For instance, hearing delicious in the sentence, "The croissant was delicious," shows you precisely how to use the word naturally within a sentence structure. Over time, these repeated contextual exposures expand your vocabulary in a meaningful, practical, and highly retainable way. Sleep learning builds indispensable confidence. Many learners feel significant anxiety when initiating conversation or interacting with native speakers. By exposing your brain to English during sleep, you become fundamentally familiar with the sounds, rhythm, and structure of natural speech. This familiarity drastically reduces anxiety and allows you to respond confidently and spontaneously in real life situations. Imagine a contrasting scenario. At a challenging airport, you need to understand rapid announcements regarding gates, boarding times, and sudden flight changes. Initially, the fast, accented speech might seem impenetrable. However, if you have practiced similar announcement structures during sleep, your brain quickly recognizes key functional words, like final call, gate, departure, and boarding. You can follow the instructions seamlessly without stress or confusion, providing clear, practical demonstration of this method's application. Using technology can significantly enhance results. Many apps and audio programs are specifically designed for sleep-based learning, allowing you to adjust playback speed, select highly specific themes, and repeat exact sentences. You can also create your own customized recordings from favorite dialogues, stories, or vocabulary lists tailored to your immediate goals. The crucial requirement remains maintaining calm, moderate speed, content that your subconscious brain can process effortlessly. Over time, you can gradually, mindfully increase the difficulty. Start with familiar, simple scenarios, then carefully add more complex conversations, idioms, or cultural expressions. For example, you could progress from foundational greetings and travel phrases to more demanding workplace interactions, social gatherings, and casual, extended conversations. This gradual increase challenges your brain without ever overwhelming it. Cultural context remains essential. Listening to dialogues that reflect true social interactions helps you understand not only the words but also the appropriate responses, preparing you to engage naturally in different situations. Patience and a resilient mindset are absolutely key. Improvement will be gradual. You may not notice changes overnight, but over weeks and months. Listening comprehension, vocabulary retention, pronunciation, and confidence will all steadily and visibly improve. Track your progress by noting new words or sentence patterns that transition from confusing to easy. By combining sleep learning with active practice, visualization, and consistent routines, you build a complete, highly effective system. Your brain consolidates language memories during sleep, while active study during the day strengthens memory and encourages immediate usage. Sleep transforms into a tool for continuous linguistic growth, turning every night into a valuable learning opportunity. Practical tips for daily integration include setting aside time before bed to review key phrases, listening to calming audio during sleep, practicing speaking and writing during the day, and gradually increasing content difficulty. Over time, your subconscious mind will consistently support your conscious efforts, making English comprehension easier and communication fundamentally more natural. Consider travel once more. You are visiting a foreign city and need to ask for directions urgently. Thanks to targeted sleep learning, you instantly understand questions like, "Can you tell me how to get to the train station?" and can formulate a natural, fluent response without hesitation. Your confidence soars because your brain has already processed and rehearsed these specific patterns. This method works for a wide variety of real-life situations, including social interactions, travel logistics, professional communication, and entertainment consumption. Combining sleep learning with active techniques like shadowing, writing, and speaking practice significantly enhances results. Repetition, consistency, and alignment with your level are the fundamental governing principles. Your brain learns best when patterns are repeatedly reinforced, exposure is consistent, and material is neither too simplistic nor too complex. With daily practice and nightly reinforcement, your listening comprehension, vocabulary, pronunciation, and confidence will steadily and irreversibly improve. Imagine preparing for an important professional meeting, a major presentation, or a demanding social event. Sleep learning reduces anxiety, improves comprehension, and strategically strengthens confidence. Your subconscious mind supports your conscious learning, allowing you to respond quickly, accurately, and naturally. Sleep becomes a productive, enjoyable part of language learning rather than simply a time to rest. By using carefully selected audio, maintaining strict consistency, combining passive input and active output, and gradually increasing difficulty, you can achieve substantial, measurable progress. Real-life scenarios, vivid visualization, and practical application reinforce the learning loops. Your brain consolidates memories, strengthens neural pathways, and enhances both listening, comprehension, and articulate speaking ability. Listening comprehension becomes faster, vocabulary becomes more readily accessible, and speech becomes notably more fluent. Using sleep strategically creates a continuous learning cycle that accelerates improvement and greatly reduces performance stress. Your brain effortlessly integrates language into memory while you rest. With consistent practice, the method allows you to understand native speakers more easily, respond confidently, and communicate naturally. In English, sleep-based learning, strategically combined with daytime study, visualization, and practical application, forms a complete, synergistic system that promotes continuous, enjoyable improvement. It is a scientifically supported, practical, and highly effective way to expand your English skills, increase confidence, and thoroughly prepare for real-life linguistic situations. Over weeks and months, you will notice that comprehension becomes easier, vocabulary grows naturally, pronunciation improves, and confidence dramatically increases. Real-world communication becomes profoundly more comfortable, and you feel fully capable of navigating English-speaking environments smoothly. Sleep learning is an advanced tool that maximizes your brain's natural abilities, supports your conscious study efforts, and allows language acquisition to continue even when you are resting. By diligently implementing these structured strategies, you can transform your entire approach to English learning, making it more efficient, more enjoyable, and significantly more effective. Every night becomes an invaluable opportunity to reinforce vocabulary, sentence structures, pronunciation, and listening comprehension. Combining this method with active practice, visualization, and gradual exposure to more complex material ensures steady, noticeable progress, culminating in true confidence in any English-speaking situation. Sleep learning strengthens neural pathways, improves listening comprehension, expands vocabulary, enhances pronunciation, and builds confidence. It works best when combined with consistent. This comprehensive system leverages dedicated practice, highly relevant content, and realistically achievable benchmarks. Over time, this integrated methodology yields profound, verifiable improvements that directly enhance daily communication, streamline travel experiences, professional interactions, and enrich social engagement. By consciously transforming the hours spent sleeping into an auxiliary learning phase, you effectively tap into the potent capacities of the subconscious mind, supercharging daytime conscious learning and dramatically accelerating English acquisition through disciplined repetition, structured curriculum, unwavering consistency, and immediate integration with real-world experiences. Sleep learning thus emerges as a practical, empirically supported, and exceptionally efficient strategy for mastering English. You begin to instinctively absorb intricate language patterns, sophisticated vocabulary, and authentic native pronunciation, resulting in faster comprehension, markedly smoother communication, and a substantial boost in confidence. This unique approach facilitates a truly holistic study experience, seamlessly blending restorative rest, unconscious cognitive processing, and structured active study to guarantee relentless, continuous improvement. While the brain efficiently ingests and processes language patterns and phonetic nuances during nocturnal rest, daytime engagement reinforces active skill application and conversational fluency. With disciplined patience, steadfast dedication, and the consistent utilization of sleep-based listening, your auditory comprehension becomes deeply intuitive and second nature. Vocabulary reserves swell, pronunciation fidelity sharpens, and conversational confidence in English ascends steadily. Sleep is no longer merely downtime. It evolves into an indispensable component of language mastery, a crucial window for the brain to solidify newly acquired knowledge, consolidate fragile memories, and robustly support all conscious learning endeavors. By rigorously implementing structured routines, curating highly appropriate audio content, and strategically pairing passive sleep listening with dynamic active daytime practice, you establish a complete, highly optimized language acquisition system. Over the weeks, listening comprehension, vocabulary breadth, pronunciation accuracy, and overall self-assurance witness exponential and measurable gains. It is paramount to understand that sleep learning does not replace active, effortful study. Rather, it functions as a powerful, scientifically validated supplement that enhances natural language acquisition, markedly reduces learning stress, and maximizes overall linguistic retention. By activating and directing your subconscious mind during sleep, you create perpetual learning opportunities that operate around the clock, simultaneously strengthening essential neural pathways, cementing long-term memories, and deeply embedding fundamental language patterns. Consequently, your brain becomes hyper-efficient at processing English, grasping rapid native speech, and producing spontaneous language with authority. Over the span of weeks and months, this integrated methodology produces quantifiable results that substantially enhance everything from casual, daily exchanges to navigating complex international travel, facilitating nuanced professional dialogues, and fostering genuine social interactions. Sleep-based language learning is an accessible, highly practical, and scientifically underpinned technique that powerfully complements conventional study, accelerating proficiency improvements and forging unshakable confidence. By consistently utilizing meticulously selected audio materials, integrating passive listening during rest with vigorous, active practice during waking hours, and incrementally scaling content difficulty, you ensure uninterrupted advancement in English. Your brain naturally learns while resting, internalizing necessary vocabulary, essential sentence structures, and subtle pronunciation cues, thereby priming you for real-world interactions. Sleep learning fundamentally transforms your approach to English acquisition, making every night a productive, growth-focused experience. With patience, predictable routine, and mindful, targeted application, listening ability, comprehensive understanding, vocabulary depth, pronunciation, clarity, and inherent confidence steadily improve, laying an unshakable foundation for fluent and truly natural communication in English. Having established the foundational principles of sleep-based English learning, we must now explore advanced strategies designed to amplify the method's effectiveness and allow learners to extract the maximum value from their resting hours. One of the most efficient techniques is thematic organization. Instead of randomly shuffling audio content nightly, learners benefit immensely from grouping material by specific, contextualized themes. For instance, dedicate one entire week to audio focused on travel-related vocabulary and booking dialogues, the subsequent week to social etiquette and casual interactions, and another week specifically to technical workplace communication. By intensely concentrating on a narrow set of themes, the brain forms far stronger neural associations between words, phrases, and their real-life functional context, making conscious recall significantly easier and instantaneous when awake. Thematic organization also lends vital structure to active daytime practice. After passively listening to travel-related audio overnight, you can actively role-play, ordering a meal, soliciting clear directions, or purchasing tickets during the day. This deliberate reinforcement of the exact same vocabulary and structural patterns both subconsciously during sleep and consciously during practice solidifies the learning process with unparalleled efficacy. Another critical strategy is gradual progression. Beginners should initiate their journey with the absolute simplest functional phrases and sentences, greetings, standard requests, or daily routine descriptions. As auditory comprehension reliably improves, you then incrementally introduce progressively more complex sentences, authentic idiomatic expressions, and dialogue spoken at native speed. This measured progression ensures the brain is continuously stimulated and challenged without ever tipping into a state of cognitive overload. Attempting to process overly complex material prematurely can be severely counterproductive, potentially inhibiting retention and even disturbing sleep quality itself. Visual reinforcement serves as a potent complementary tool. Immediately before settling down for sleep, briefly review flashcards, concise dialogues, or vocabulary lists that precisely correspond to the audio material scheduled for the night. This action strategically creates multiple, intersecting pathways for the same information within the brain. When the audio commences during sleep, the subconscious mind actively strengthens these nascent neural connections, making it far easier to retrieve and deploy the target words, phrases, and sentence structures during active, waking communication. Timing and environment are non-negotiable prerequisites for successful sleep learning. The audio must be played at a perfectly comfortable, subdued volume clearly audible for the subconscious, but never loud enough to cause disruption or arousal. The learning environment itself must be optimized. Dark, quiet, and completely free of potential distractions. Crucially, avoid playing high-energy, rapid-fire, or emotionally charged content, as this dramatically interferes with natural sleep patterns and undermines memory consolidation. Calm, clearly articulated, and highly structured audio remains the most effective medium for reinforcing language learning during rest. Consider a highly practical, Real-life scenario. You enter a bustling restaurant in an English-speaking city. The staff greets you warmly with complex multi-part sentences like, "Hi," "Welcome," "Do you have a reservation?" and "Would you like a table for two?" Initially, these fast-paced, naturally pronounced sentences might induce anxiety. However, because you have listened to these exact phrasing patterns during sleep, your brain instantly recognizes the structure and meaning. You grasp the questions and respond confidently, "Yes, a table for two, please," without the debilitating hesitation characteristic of struggling learners. This instantaneous recognition exemplifies the practical payoff of sleep learning, translating passive nocturnal exposure into real-world fluency and comprehension. A critical reinforcing element is repetition and review. Memory consolidation is fundamentally driven by repeated exposure. Playing the same curated audio segment across multiple consecutive nights is exponentially more effective than constantly cycling through new material. Repetition allows the subconscious mind to deeply recognize and absorb patterns, natural intonation, and grammatical structure, reinforcing learning without requiring conscious mental effort. For example, hearing the polite request, "Could you tell me how to get to the museum?" repeatedly teaches the specialized vocabulary, underlying grammar, correct pronunciation, and appropriate polite phrasing simultaneously. Consistency is equally vital. Establish a non-negotiable nightly routine where sleep listening is a predictable, fixed component of your schedule. The brain thrives on predictable patterns, and regular repetition substantially enhances long-term retention. Even a handful of nights of unwavering practice will generate demonstrably stronger results than sporadic exposure scattered over many weeks. Furthermore, integration with daytime study is the ultimate force multiplier. Sleep-based learning reaches its maximum potential when synergized with active practice. During the day, vocally repeat the phrases you heard overnight, compose short dialogues incorporating the material, and role-play scenarios using the new vocabulary. Active engagement strengthens the conscious, production side of language use, while sleep reliably consolidates memory and reinforces comprehension subconsciously. Consider a public transportation example. You are on a commuter train, attempting to decipher a rapid announcement regarding stops, necessary transfers, and platform changes. Initially, the speech sounds like an impenetrable blur. However, thanks to passive exposure to similar announcement structures during sleep, your brain instantly registers critical keywords like next stop, transfer, and platform number. You effortlessly follow the instructions, showcasing how sleep learning dramatically sharpens practical comprehension in dynamic, real-life situations. Vocabulary retention is a major intrinsic benefit. By hearing new words consistently embedded within authentic context, your brain learns not only the dictionary definition but also the appropriate, natural usage. For instance, hearing the word delicious used in the sentence, "The croissant was delicious," teaches both meaning and correct grammatical placement. Contextual learning is significantly more durable and effective than rote memorization of isolated terms because it helps the brain seamlessly integrate vocabulary into fluid, practical communication. Pronunciation also improves markedly through passive exposure. Listening repeatedly to authentic native speakers reinforces correct word stress, sentence intonation, and the natural rhythm of speech. Over time, you will observe that your own pronunciation spontaneously begins to mirror natural speech patterns, often without dedicated, deliberate practice. Focusing on small, highly manageable sets of sentences each week is a powerful tactic. Select 10 to 20 key phrases and play them consistently during sleep. During the day, dedicate time to speaking them aloud, integrating them into brief, functional dialogues, or writing short paragraphs incorporating the phrases. This potent combination of repetition, active practice, and subconscious reinforcement strengthens crucial neural pathways, making both comprehension and spontaneous communication feel organic and natural. Confidence is a natural byproduct of this method. Many learners experience high anxiety when speaking English or interacting with native speakers. Sleep-based learning effectively reduces this performance anxiety by flooding the brain with familiar, natural speech patterns in a supremely relaxed state. Over time, fast-paced or highly colloquial speech becomes inherently easier to understand, empowering you to participate in conversations with unprecedented self-assurance. Imagine a social context. You are at a networking event or party, and overhear someone casually say, "Do you want to grab a coffee this weekend?" Your brain instantaneously processes the meaning and sentence structure because similar conversational dialogues were internalized during sleep. You respond naturally, saying, "Yes, that sounds great," without the typical moment of panic or hesitation. This beautifully illustrates the real-world utility of sleep learning for fluid, casual social interactions. Technology can be intelligently leveraged to dramatically enhance sleep-based learning. Numerous specialized apps and programs are now designed specifically for language reinforcement during sleep, allowing for precise adjustments to playback speed, thematic content selection, and targeted repetition of specific sentences. Furthermore, you can create personalized recordings of dialogues, stories, or vocabulary lists meticulously tailored to your specific learning goals. The core directive remains maintaining calm, acoustically clear, and structured audio that the subconscious mind can process effortlessly without generating cognitive stress. Structured progression ensures predictable, steady improvement. Always begin with fundamental, high-frequency phrases, then systematically advance to more complex compound sentences, practical idioms, and culturally authentic dialogues. For example, start with basic greetings, core questions, and common requests. Next, progress to conversations centering on travel, professional life, hobbies, and social interactions. Eventually, incorporate complex idiomatic expressions, phrasal verbs, and authentic casual speech patterns. This methodology guarantees that learning remains continuous, structured, and manageable. Visualization dramatically enhances the process. Before drifting off to sleep, engage in mental rehearsal. Vividly imagine yourself navigating realistic situations where you successfully utilize English. Picture asking confidently for directions, ordering food smoothly, presenting during a meeting, or chatting casually with new friends. This mental preparation preloads the memory and actively reinforces the phrases you hear during sleep. It significantly boosts your ability to retrieve and use the language naturally when real life calls for it. Mindset and patience are absolutely essential components. Improvement will inevitably be incremental. While you might not notice immediate, dramatic leaps, consistent effort guarantees that your listening comprehension, vocabulary, breadth, pronunciation, precision, and overall confidence will steadily, reliably improve. Tracking progress reinforces motivation. Maintain a simple journal documenting phrases, specific vocabulary, or sentence patterns that gradually become easier to understand over time. Reviewing these notes regularly helps to consciously consolidate the subconscious gains. The combined force of sleep learning and active daytime practice establishes a complete and highly effective language acquisition cycle. During sleep, your brain passively and efficiently consolidates memories and complex patterns. During waking hours, active repetition, role-playing, and writing exercises strengthen conscious language production skills. This optimized cycle maximizes progress, minimizes the stress associated with learning, and ensures practical applicability across all real-life contexts. Real-world scenarios continuously illustrate the method's power. In a hotel setting, understanding staff questions such as, "Do you need assistance with your luggage?" or "Would you like breakfast included?" becomes effortless if you have listened to analogous phrases during your rest. Your brain instantly recognizes the established patterns, vocabulary, and sentence structure, allowing for a confident and immediate response. Travel, social events, professional settings, and everyday routines all benefit profoundly from sleep-based reinforcement. Listening to dialogues that mirror real-life situations, subtly embed cultural nuances, and utilize authentic conversational patterns ensures that comprehension is practical and immediately applicable. This also drastically reduces anxiety when encountering fast, natural speech in authentic settings. The integration of passive and active techniques is fundamentally critical. Repetition, consistency, visualization, structured, thematic blocks, gradual progression, and active daytime engagement constitute a truly comprehensive approach. Over sustained periods, listening comprehension, vocabulary retention, pronunciation quality, and self-confidence all experience significant uplift. Sleep is thus fundamentally transformed from mere rest into an immensely productive, self-directed learning tool. In summary, sleep-based English learning operates by strategically harnessing your brain's natural mechanisms for memory consolidation during rest. Carefully curated, calm, and highly structured audio, repeated over multiple nights, powerfully strengthens vocabulary recall, sentence patterning, and phonetic accuracy. Integrating this passive listening with active daytime study, visualization techniques, and a gradual, managed progression ensures deeply meaningful, long-term improvement. Confidence soars, auditory comprehension becomes dramatically simpler, and spontaneous speaking becomes more natural and fluid. Real-life scenarios spanning travel, social engagement, professional communication, and daily routines unequivocally demonstrate the practical, immediate benefits of this approach. By establishing a structured routine, selecting relevant, high-quality content, prioritizing repetition, and seamlessly combining passive and active learning components, you transform sleep into a potent catalyst for continuous language development. Over weeks and months, listening comprehension improves organically, vocabulary expands automatically, pronunciation becomes more accurate, and conversational confidence grows steadily and resiliently. Sleep learning is a scientifically supported, immensely practical, and surprisingly enjoyable path. It allows your brain to fully internalize complex patterns, vocabulary, and pronunciation while resting, and daytime active practice reinforces these fundamental skills, creating a fully comprehensive system for achieving genuine fluency and natural communication. By consistently applying these powerful, integrated strategies, you will observe measurable, lasting improvement in your English skills across an extensive range of real-life contexts. Your capacity to understand rapid native speech, respond fluently in conversations, and communicate with assured confidence will increase progressively over time. Sleep learning brilliantly leverages your subconscious mind, reinforces critical neural pathways, consolidates long-term memory, and meticulously prepares you for the practical, effective use of English in everyday life. Combined with consistent, focused active practice, visualization, and highly structured progression, sleep-based learning stands as an exceptionally effective, evidence-backed, and accessible method for achieving continuous linguistic mastery. Each night becomes a calculated opportunity to reinforce vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, and listening comprehension. Over weeks, months, and years, these small, incremental gains accumulate, yielding significant, life-changing improvement. The synchronized processing achieved during sleep, perfectly paired with conscious daytime practice, ensures that English learning becomes both extraordinarily efficient and highly enjoyable. By deliberately turning sleep into a learning asset, you optimally utilize your available time, significantly reduce learning stress, build profound self-confidence, and achieve consistently measurable results in listening, comprehension, and communication skills. Sleep learning provides a natural, practical, and scientifically validated pathway to mastering English for everyday interactions, travel, professional advancement, social fluidity, and profound personal growth. This sophisticated method allows your brain to fully process and robustly retain language while you rest, while active engagement during the day definitively consolidates your skills, culminating in a complete and powerful language acquisition system.